The world's #1 female cultivator ran out of the book, coercing a man to change the plot for her. Just because the man is the bloody writer who controls the direction of the plot. Write down the plot that made her fall in love with her disciple. All of these. All thanks to the fact that the man found a peerless beauty on a blind date. He wanted to go through the motions. Sloppy to date a beautiful woman. Unexpectedly, she was directly rejected by the beauty. After being rejected, sadly, he went straight home. Write yourself in a waste novel. The plot of the novel. It's just that the hero himself is a handyman. Accidentally received advice from the suzerain Chiouwuji. This is also the beginning of the hero's rise to prominence. Chuge is about to. When writing the plot of Chiouwuji falling in love with his disciple, the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees in an instant. Chuge shivered from the cold, looking suspiciously at the closed window ahead. But why is there a chill behind? Suddenly a frosty sword was placed on his neck. Chuge turned around suspiciously. I saw a fairy-like beautiful woman draw a sword with one hand. Looking at myself coldly. How dare you write that I fell in love with that student? I risked my life to take your life. Chuge looked at the sword with a face full of horror and retreated. Who are you? The beauty spoke slowly, Chiouwuji. Hear her name. Chuge thought that he had been staying up all night writing manuscripts lately. Mental problems. The heroine I wrote by myself wants to write the heroine she likes for me. Ran out on purpose. Thought of this. Chuge sized up and compared Chiouwuji. This girl's skin is as creamy and delicate. The next stem is pink and white like a ball fin. White and even teeth like melon seeds. Plus this dressing style. It's exactly the type in my novel. Chuge tapped the tip of his sword and said something. Put the sword away first. Chiouwuji snorted coldly. Kill you without a sword. Chuge also knows. If it really came out of the book, the momentum alone can kill me in seconds. When Chuge was in doubt, Chiouwuji looked at the notebook on the desktop, holding the clothes around Chuji's neck. Chuge was thrown aside and sat next to the computer. Seeing Chuge. My mind is a bit confused. You want to write yourself? In Chuji's doubts, Chiouwuji twists his fingers and injects spiritual power into the computer. The next moment, it was directly bounced back by the current. Seeing this, Chuge yelled at the witch to pay for my computer. Then asked if you are injecting spiritual energy. Let's analyze the composition of the magic weapon. At this moment, Chuge can only believe it if he doesn't believe it. Because it's outrageous. Reluctantly asked Chiouwuji, what do you want to write? You say I will write. Chiouwuji set off his chin with one hand. Just write the seat epiphany soaring. Break the limit of heaven and man. But Chuge felt that this was invalid. Because this deviates from the original setting of the framework of the novel. Chiouwuji has a dark face. A sword rests on Chuji's neck. In your setting, I can't ascend? Chuge removed the sword and explained, you are the protagonist of the story. Wouldn't the story collapse without the main character? Chiouwuji didn't listen at all, just wrote as I said. Chuge sighed and started writing on the computer. Chiouwuji's mood was open, and the meaning of ascension gradually spread. Suddenly the robbery cloud rose so loudly that I couldn't open my eyes. But Chiouwuji opened his eyes. Nothing happened. Chuge said at this time. To write this is to violate the logic of the world frame. Chiouwuji said in a low voice when he heard the words he didn't expect. Creator of our world. Just a helpless scholar. And the whole world is just a book. Every plant, every tree, every flower, every tree. Human moodiness. The trajectory of life changes with a pen. Chuge looked at the depressed Chiouwuji. Thinking of Chiouwuji written by him, he is determined. Those who like to control fate now find that fate is in someone else's hands. Must be uncomfortable. Chiouwuji seemed to feel something. Looking at Chuge, are you sympathizing with me? Although she knows the world she lives in. It's all written by this man. But after coercing the man to rewrite the plot, discovered that men can't change her fate at will. Chuge looked at Chiouwuji, who was depressed. I can't directly write about you soaring. That's because there is no self-consistent logic. It's not logical, even the author can't help it. Someone said. When a character is written, it is out of the author's control. And your appearance is the best proof of this sentence. Zhou Wuji drew his sword and looked at Chu Ge. You mean me? Which man I like is my own choice. Chu Ge was shocked. It's a complete slip of the tongue, it's shooting yourself in the foot. With Xiao Wuji's critical vision, how could it be possible to fall in love with a useless disciple? Can she fall in love with a good-for-nothing disciple? Entirely to my credit. If she knows this, I'm afraid I don't know how I died. Xiao Wuji looked out the window and opened his mouth. That's definitely not the choice I should have. You can at least somewhat influence the so-called self-consistency. Chu Ge broke out in a cold sweat. I immediately regretted that I wrote her too smart. What does Zhou Wuji feel? Turn your head and look at Chu Ge, no matter what method you use. Don't let me have any emotional relationship with Chu Tiange. After speaking, it turned into a wisp of green smoke and disappeared before Chu Ji's eyes. When I left, I didn't forget to tell Chu Ge. If you can't write well, never write. Chu Ge slapped himself on the face with two palms. Pain sounds real. Then he thought. Although Xiao Wuji is not a member of the demon sect, but not a good person, there are many lives in hand. If you keep writing like this, his most likely direction. Just kill me, the Creator God. Now she won't kill me. I'm just worried that after the fall of the Creator God, it just caused her world to collapse. The most important thing right now is still thinking about how to change the direction of the subsequent plot. Otherwise, my life is in danger. Think for a long time. Chu Ge angrily began to type. As long as you don't follow the protagonist, it's fine. I can't beat you in a fight. Who is afraid of writing articles? Accompanied by the sudden press of the submit key, a blue cataclysm struck at Xiao Wuji, who was cultivating. But she didn't panic and directly absorbed the catastrophe. Open your eyes after a long time. A picture of Chu Ge writing in front of his eyes. Can't help but sigh. Yourself and the world. It's a book written by this man. Everything I've been through. Is it real or unreal? But there is God's will in the dark. Afraid of the unknown. Now that the truth has been seen, there will always be a solution. With this helpless God of creation, I can't do anything. Top priority now is to find and break the boundary at any time, and how to stay in the outside world for a long time. Until then, retreat to your own world and let it weave. Advance to travel outside to explore the heavens. The universe is boundless, the sky is high, and the sea is wide. What not to do? I like a good-for-nothing disciple. How could it be my future, Xiao Wuji? If you really want to find a man, you should be the god of creation. Xiao Wuji immediately blushed and covered his mouth. After thinking about it, the face is slightly angry. How dare he? And at this time, let Xiao Wuji say these brazen words. Stretching and humming a little song, I'm ready to go to bed. Not long after, Chu Ge dreamed that Xiao Wuji was calling for Father God. I'm coming for you. When Chu Ge spread out his hands and was about to pick her up, I saw that Xiao Wuji had an extra sword in his hand. Stab at him with the sword. Chu Ge suddenly woke up. Thinking about it, she shouldn't be able to travel through time at any time. Otherwise, my life will be gone. Chu Ge couldn't fall asleep after being awakened. Get up and get ready to check the book reviews. I don't know, I was shocked when I saw it. Even the book friends guessed the plot direction of the previous outline. But Chu Ge replied bluntly, just foreshadowing. None. Who would have thought that a book friend would read a book he wrote before? Directly want to bet with him. After hearing the bet, Chu Ge excitedly accepted it. Anyway, Xiao Wuji didn't let him write according to the original outline. Simply reset the outline and get rid of everyone's guesswork. But now the new outline has no idea. Ask the man next to him, Zhang Qiren. Chu Ge has not had time to knock on the door. Zhang Qiren opened the door, looking at the luggage on the ground. Are you moving out? Then, dragging luggage with Zhang Qiren to the roadside barbecue stand, Zhang Qiren drank a few bottles of beer. Revealed the reason. My work has been reported. He also said that my works use ancient times to satirize the present. The editor told me. Let me block for a while. Wait for the content to be changed before releasing it. I blocked it as soon as it was put on the shelf. When it's released, who else will watch it? Chu Ge comforted him from the bottom of his heart. This man who stays up all night writing. work harder than himself. Zhang Qiren raised his head and said, after so many years of dreaming, gotta wake up and go home and live a normal life. Chuge looked at this. Zhang Qiren, who looks like a colleague and more like a friend. I feel bad. So tell him to move out. Still working in the same city. Make money, remember to drink beer with me. Waving goodbye to Zhang Qiren, I also turned around and prepared to go back. Because of Zhang Qiren, Chuge also opened his mother's WeChat. I don't know how they lived in the secret unit. My own situation is not much better than that of Zhang Qiren. Just thinking about it, a figure suddenly passed by. Chuge was startled by this man. There is no sound of footsteps. The girl turned her head and glanced at Chuge, turned around and ran away. In this scene, even Chuge doubted that he was not a good person. But isn't this the girl who lives next door to the live broadcast? It seems that the live broadcast is not good. Go drink. Chuge turned around and went back to his empty room. After Zhang Qiren left. But there's really no one to talk to. Suddenly a long sword was placed in front of him. Qiu Wuji spoke slowly from behind him. What you wrote is begging for death. Who knows that Chuge is not afraid? Instead, he turned his head and said, it's good that you're here now. Sword in the throat. But he turned and thanked the sword bearer. Because his only friend also left him. Empty and lonely after returning home. Qiu Wuji looked suspiciously at Chuge, who had become stupid after only one day. Chuge said, put away the sword first. I don't remember writing. You like to hang swords around people's necks. Qiu Wuji is so annoying. The person who knows me best is not myself. How do you write I will do? Chuge looked at the stabbing sword. Hastily said, it might have been like this before. But if you don't want to, let's discuss it later. Qiu Wuji heard the words and asked. Do you want to explain? If you are looking for a man, you should also be looking for Chuangshishin. Chuge smiled awkwardly and actually forgot about it. So I hurriedly said that you don't want to get involved with Brother Chutian. I'm not here to correct my previous thinking. Build a stronger personality for you? After listening to the explanation, Qiu Wuji said that I started from birth. I don't want to find a man at all. Change it back now. Chuge smiled awkwardly, the manuscript has been released. I can't seem to change it. Qiu Wuji looked at it from his mobile phone in a daze. Comments on published manuscripts. He was so angry that he punched Chuge on the head. Then I can only kill you. Chuge yelled, wait a minute, I can patch it. Qiu Wuji asked suspiciously, what does this mean? Chuge explained that you just appeared. I can vaguely feel that you are outside the scene of my writing. Try to cross over. So you can be here. You are just thinking about it now. Then it must be dangerous. Separation of body and soul can lead to wandering spirits. Dissipated in time and space. Even if there is a slight error, it is possible to fall into the turbulence of time and space. Churned into residue. Qiu Wuji smiled lightly. So what? Chuge saw Qiu Wuji on the road. So I said I can make a patch. Come here easily, no risk required. Qiu Wuji looked at Chuge unexpectedly. Are you willing to help me? Chuge looked out of the window and said, that's right. After all, you just happened to heal my internal friction at the moment. In this world, I'm the one who can't control my own destiny. But you know, your destiny is in the hands of others. But still want to control their own destiny. Just for that I will help you. After speaking, Chuge stood up. Sitting next to the computer and analyzing. Last time it didn't work. Maybe that's why it wasn't posted. This time, let's write it in a new manuscript to see if it works. Although Qiu Wuji ascended without success, but found a way to travel outside the realm. Can be separated from the soul without losing. Shuttle through space cracks without getting lost. After Chuj finished writing this manuscript, Qiu Wuji secretly thought, it is effective. Then look at Chuge. This man had a huge influence on me. Maybe I should lock him up. Let him continue to strengthen his cultivation base. But you are proud. It was clearly between life and death. A practice achieved by relying on one's own wisdom and understanding and bloody struggle. What is it like to be gifted by others? Qiu Wuji suddenly shouted. You're like a roundworm in my stomach. But didn't you know you'd get beaten for saying that? Chuge smiled. I am helping you. What reason do you have to hit me? The woman I poured all my beautiful fantasies into. Out of the book. have their own soul. According to your world. The day you Chiouji broke free from the book is my Taoist. Chiouji looked at the man who was shouting. Although I hate that he can control himself. But he is a man of integrity. Then Chugu stretched out his hand. Is it necessary to get to know each other again now? Hello, my name is Juga. Chiouji looked angrily at Chuji's outstretched hand. He even gave him a few slaps. I want to touch it. He also said that all beautiful fantasies were written. What does he want? The beaten Chuga swears. Next time, we must grasp the sign language and etiquette and add it. In the next few days, Chuga not only took her shopping, and took her to eat beef noodles,